Okay, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here today with you. My name is Mariya, and today we're going to talk about cancer and vegetarian diet. Here's what's on the agenda today. We're going to have a little bit chat about cancer and what it is. Then we're going to have a better look at each article research that I have looked at. And then we're going to have some conclusions and questions. My personal interest in this topic is because of my father, who had cancer and beat cancer. And he actually was on the vegetarian diet for 2 years and on the vegan diet for 1 year. What is cancer? So cancer isn't a single disease. The term cancer encompasses more than 200 different diseases, all characterized by the uncontrolled proliferation of abnormal cells. Cancer can start anywhere in the body, which is made up of trillions of cells. In a healthy body, human cells grow and multiply in a controlled fashion via cell division in order to replace the old cells that have died, a process called apoptosis. Cancer forms when these processes go awry. So, ignoring the body's signal to stop, malignant cells multiply to form tumors and invade organs and tissues. Tumors can be cancerous, also known as malignant, and non-cancerous, benign. Benign tumors do not spread into or invade nearby tissues. When removed, benign tumors usually do not come back, but malignant tumors can and usually do. However, some benign tumors, like those in the human brain, can be very dangerous and life-threatening. Cancer is a genetic disease, and it is caused by certain changes to genes that control the way our cells function, especially how they grow and divide. Genes are the basic physical units of inheritance. Genes are arranged in the long strands of tightly packed DNA called chromosomes. When the genetic material, the DNA, is damaged, mutation can arise and potentially disrupt the normal functions of the cells. And that's how cancer can appear. What are some causes of genetic changes? We have heredity from mom and dad, grandparents, viruses, some environmental issues like smoking, excessive UV radiation, some strong chemicals, and some cell dividing inappropriately. The body normally eliminates cells with damaged DNA before they have the chance to develop. However, these normal processes decline when we age, and this is why some people with age can have cancer. Cancer is not an event, but a process that takes time, usually over years, to develop. The length of time varies widely and depends on the order and speed at which mutations accumulate. And now, the stage of cancer describes the progression of the disease in the body from pre-cancer to cancer that has spread to distant organs and tissues. This is called metastasis. And here on the picture, you can see what metastasis is. Here is my first article, and it's called Cancer in British Vegetarians, updated analysis of 4,998 incident cancers in a cohort of 32,498 meat eaters, 8,612 fish eaters, 18,290 vegetarians, and more than 2,000 vegans. The objective of the study was to describe cancer incidence in vegetarians and non-vegetarians in the United Kingdom. It was a pooled analysis of 2 prospective studies, including more than 61,000 British men and women. Cancer incidence was followed throughout the nationwide cancer registries, and cancer risk was estimated by using multivariate Cox proportional hazardness models. Let's see the first study they looked at, the Oxford Vegetarian Study. It was in the UK, and it was conducted between 1980 and 1984. It had more than 11,000 subjects, and the participants completed a questionnaire about their diet and lifestyle. That group was assigned by using 4 questions, asking about what kind of meat, what they eat, about meat, fish, dairy, and eggs. Let's see now what the EPIC Oxford cohort was. It was recruited throughout the United Kingdom between 1993 and 1999. And the main questionnaire included 4 questions if subjects consumed either meat, fish, dairy products, and eggs. Participants were excluded from the analysis if they were younger than 20 years, if they were older than 89 years, had a previous malignant neoplasm, or had no information for one or more of the following: age, sex, smoking, and were not in the diet group. Here are some results. When vegans were examined as a separate group for the 3 commonest cancers, with meat eaters as the reference group, there were no significant associations with risk of colorectal, breast, or prostate cancer, but vegans had a 19% lower risk than the meat eaters for all cancers combined. A meat-free diet could be associated with a reduction in the risk of stomach cancer. High intake of fruits and vegetables might reduce the risk of stomach cancer, but we need more consistent research in order to prove that. Stomach cancer risk was 63% lower in the vegetarian group, including vegans, compared with meat eaters, although this estimate was based on a small number of cases, and we need more research to confirm these findings. And last but not least, in conclusion, this study suggests that the risk of cancer is lower in fish eaters, vegetarians, and vegans than in meat eaters. Further research is needed to determine which cancer sites and types account for these overall findings in this study. My second article is called Association between a pro-plant-based dietary score and cancer risk in the prospective Nutrinet SAND cohort. The burden of cancer is 14.1 million new cases just in 2012. 1/3 of the most common neoplasms could be avoided just by changing overall lifestyle and dietary habits. Plant products are associated with decreased risk of breast and colorectal cancers with probable to convincing levels of evidence. Plant-based foods, like fruits and vegetables, contain bioactive compounds such as fiber, vitamins, minerals, polyphenols, for which anti-carcinogen roles were suggested thanks to their anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties they have. The study is still ongoing, web-based cohort, which was launched in France in 2009. All questionnaires are completed online, and electronic informed consent is obtained from each participant in the study. This study included more than 42,000 men and women of the French Nutrinet SAND prospect cohort study between 2009 and 2016, age 45, who completed at least 3 24-hour dietary records during the first year of the follow-up. We have some exclusions, and more than 42,000 subjects were included in the analysis. I'm sorry, inclusion, not exclusion. Here are some exclusions. In the present study, 20.03% of the subjects were considered as under-reporters and were excluded from the analysis. Under-energy reporters and subjects with a null follow-up were also excluded from the study. Subjects with cancer diagnosed in the first year of follow-up were also excluded from the study. And last but not least, subjects who declared hepatitis or cirrhosis were also excluded from the study. At inclusion, participants completed a set of 5 questionnaires related to socio-demographic and lifestyle characteristics like sex, date of birth, educational level, and so on. Anthropometrics like weight and height, dietary intakes, physical activity, and health status provided by their MDs. Here's some results. A higher pro-plant-based dietary score was associated with a decreased overall digestive and lung cancer risks. As you can see on the table, similar trends were observed when digestive cancers were restricted to colorectal cancers, although not statistically significant. No association was observed for breast and prostate cancers. Here are some strengths of the study. It was a prospective design. It had a large sample size of participants. 24 hours dietary records based on a recent food composition database was performed. And we had large choice of food items, more than 3,300. Here are some limitations. Extrapolation of the results. Unhealthy dietary behaviors may have been underrepresented, which weakened the observed associations. The pro-plant-based dietary score includes fish, seafood, and poultry in animal products, supposing they have negative effects on cancer risk. Then we still need more evidence of that. The number of cancers at any given site was more restricted, even though we had a large sample size. And the length of the follow-up was relatively limited in time, since the cohort was launched just since 2009. Higher in some discussions, higher proportion of plant-based products decreased the overall lung and digestive cancer risks. This prospective cohort study brings new insights to support the beneficial role of higher intakes of plant-based products, along with lower intakes of animal products, with a balanced omnivore diets regarding primary cancer prevention. And in conclusion, an overall cancer risk reduction of 15% was observed between highest and lowest pro-plant dietary scores. And my last article is called Lifelong Vegetarianism and Breast Cancer Risk, a large multi-center case control study in India. Here's some background for this study. The lower incidence of breast cancer in Asian populations, where the intake of animal products is usually lower than that of Western populations, has led some to suggest that a vegetarian diet might reduce breast cancer risk. Let's see. The study was conducted between 2011 and 2014. The strength of this study was that we had a large sample size, and a limitation is that we have some recall biases. It was a multi-center hospital-based case control study in 8 cancer centers in India. The study included more than 2,000 cases and 2,255 controls. Patients with a history of breast cancer were excluded from the study. And here's some data collection points. Interviewer administered structured questionnaire included information about diet, lifestyle, and socio-demographic factors. And multivariate logistic regression models were used to estimate the odds ratio and 95% confidence intervals for the risk of breast cancer in relation to lifelong vegetarian diet, adjusting for known risk factors for this particular disease. Here is a graphic, some results. It may be a surprise for you, but the study actually on multivariate analysis with adjustments for known risk factors for the breast cancer. The risk of breast cancer was not decreased in this study. And here is the conclusion. Lifelong exposure to a vegetarian diet appears to have little, if any, effect on the risk of breast cancer. Interesting, right? Something to think about. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mariya. So now we will open the chat to any questions that any of the participants may have for Mariya.
Was that a question?
No, yeah, I'm just letting everybody know that they can chat in a question to you. I'll give them a couple minutes since they kind of have to type it up, so.
I see myself. Maybe everyone left.
Does anybody have any questions? Are they having any difficulty locating the chat box? If that's the case, you can feel free to unmute yourself as well and ask the question if it's a little easier.
And now I can see everyone else. Before I could see only you.
I'll just unmute and ask because I think it's easier than typing. Mariya, so it sounds like these results surprised you. Did it prompt like any further questions that you might want to dig into more research to see, to see why you came to this conclusion, or maybe if there were different questions to look into since you're really interested in cancer and obviously diet?
Oh yeah, of course. So I would definitely like to continue researching deeper, because this last article had women. So we can see that these results required that we need to have more are just for women. But what about men? How this can relate to them? And my personal example with my father, who had cancer, and then we implemented this diet, the vegetarian. He was on that for 2 years and on the vegan for 1 year. And just it's very interesting for me to see the comparison between the two genders, the two sexes. So males and females, how this relate to each one, and even more to other people who want to be identified, how they want to be identified in an appropriate way. So looking at each individual person and having more large studies, including more people, and looking at how physiology interacts with the different diets, it's like very interesting for me. And we need more research to definitely see if these results are going to be yes or no, and how people are feeling with each diet. And as I said, having a personal example makes it even more important for me to dig deeper. And someday, if I have the chance to be a college professor, I would be referencing this time when I was young and eager to learn. And maybe I may have been conducting one of those researchers. So I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, definitely I would like to dig deeper in this topic, definitely. Okay, here's a question. We know that there are benefits to practicing a Mediterranean diet with the intake of fish or omega-3 fatty acids and the impact on cancer. But based on your research articles, would you recommend it to the, okay, so first of all, it depends on the patient, on the person, his physiology, his state of mind, what he wants or she wants. I'm in no way going to recommend anything one over the other, just because we don't know any confirmed results yet. But I will definitely start promoting a little bit more interest in people in the vegetarian and vegan diets. But still, we need more research. We need more research to give appropriate nutrition advice to people, and especially patients in the clinical setting, because this is very important. So thank you for this question. I really like that question. Really, thank you so much. Thank you. I was an advocate for the Mediterranean diet a while ago when my grandfather had heart attack. So we did Mediterranean diet with him for a couple of years. So again, a personal touch we have here. So I don't know. It depends on the person and his physiological needs, what he will need. Thank you so much for this question again. Oh, thank you.
Okay, well, if anybody has any last minute questions, please feel free to chat it in or interrupt me as I'm kind of wrapping. Maria's up here. In the chat box, I did send the link again of the presenter survey. So if you kind of jumped in a little later and you didn't see that, that is in the chat box. So feel free to fill that out to give Mariya some feedback. And then the next presentations are going to start at 9:50, so you have about 10 minutes. The two presenters that will be presenting next are Gracia. She's presenting on the impact of diet on male fertility. And Sierra, who's presenting on the National Kidney Foundation and the Kidney Disease Outcomes Quality Initiative Guidelines. Just if you don't have those right in front of you, I can put those links in the chat box as well. I know we're trying to figure out the kinks of the passcodes, so Lindsay should be sending those out shortly. we did do some fixing in the settings, but I'm just to be sure if it didn't fix it, those should be sent out within the next couple minutes. But otherwise, if no one else has any questions, you guys can feel free to head over to, or wait for those other presentations to begin.
Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you.